Wayne Fontana and the Mindbenders began their journey in 1963 when Wayne Fontana, born Glyn Jeffrey Ellis, teamed up with three other musicians in Manchester, England. The band's name came from a quirky combination. Wayne was inspired by Elvis Presley's drummer, DJ Fontana, while Mindbenders was taken from a movie title. Early on, they developed a reputation for being one of the more eccentric bands in the British Invasion, with a fun, carefree attitude that made them stand out. During one of their first gigs, the band was so nervous that they almost tripped over their own instruments while getting on stage, but they played it off with a laugh, instantly endearing themselves to the crowd. In 1964, the band signed with Fontana Records, but not before a mix-up where Wayne Fontana jokingly told the label's representative that he owned the record company. The representative, confused but amused, eventually figured out the joke, and the band quickly recorded their first single. Known for their catchy tunes and high-energy performances, Wayne Fontana and the Mindbenders were once kicked out of a venue for accidentally smashing a light fixture during their Wild show, but they were invited back because the crowd loved their antics so much. The band's rise to fame came in 1965 when they released their first major hit, The Game of Love, which became a #1 single in the US and reached the top 5 in the UK. Fontana often joked that the real game they were playing was trying to keep their instruments in tune during live shows, where the excitement of the crowd sometimes led to chaos on stage. During one concert, their drummer accidentally kicked his bass drum off the riser mid-performance, leaving the audience in hysterics as the band tried to play around the missing beat. Wayne Fontana and the Mindbenders gained attention not just for their music, but also for their quirky sense of humor. Wayne once said in an interview that the band would practice while balancing plates on their heads, just to see how long they could last before the plates fell off. This mix of lighthearted fun and undeniable talent made them a hit among fans, who loved the group's willingness to make fun of themselves. The band often played pranks on each other on stage, with Fontana once filling the bass player's shoes with confetti just before a show, much to the audience's delight. As the British invasion was in full swing, the band became regulars on television shows, often being asked to perform their hit, The Game of Love. However, one appearance almost turned into a disaster when Fontana lost his voice halfway through the song. Instead of panicking, he mimed the rest of the performance while the rest of the band played along, leaving the TV audience laughing and none the wiser. At the height of their career, Wayne Fontana unexpectedly left the band in 1965 to pursue a solo career, which shocked fans and band members alike. The remaining members of the Mindbenders decided to carry on without him, humorously dubbing themselves the band that was abandoned. The irony was not lost on them when their next hit single, A Groovy Kind of Love, topped the charts in both the UK and the US, proving that they could succeed without their frontman. Their newfound success was not without its humorous moments. During a live performance of A Groovy Kind of Love, their guitarist accidentally played the wrong chords during the intro, but instead of stopping, the band seamlessly turned the mistake into an impromptu jam session. Afterward, the audience applauded, thinking it was part of the act, and the band members couldn't stop laughing backstage at their unintended improvisation. As the Mindbenders continued to tour, they became known for their playful stage presence, including a memorable concert where they all dressed in psychedelic costumes after getting a little too inspired by the new fashion trends of the time. The drummer wore a sequined cape that kept getting caught in his drumsticks, and at one point, the guitarist's platform shoes almost sent him tumbling off the stage. Still, their commitment to fun kept audiences entertained. The band's sense of humor extended to their songwriting as well. Eric Stewart, one of the Mindbenders' founding members, once joked that their song Ashes to Ashes wasn't about deep philosophical ideas, but rather about the group's failed attempts at lighting a campfire while on tour. Their playful lyrics and carefree attitude kept them popular with fans throughout the 1960s, even as musical trends shifted. Though their chart success dwindled by the late 1960s, Wayne Fontana and the Mindbenders maintained a strong following, especially during live performances where anything could happen. During one show in 1968, a technical glitch caused all their microphones to go out, so Fontana, who had rejoined the band for a special gig, grabbed a megaphone and finished the concert as if it were planned all along. The audience loved the improvisation, and the band turned the malfunction into one of their most talked about shows. Wayne Fontana, born Glyn Jeffrey Ellis in 1945, was a charismatic and fun-loving performer who could always be counted on for a good laugh. After leaving the Mindbenders, he pursued a solo career, releasing singles that didn't quite match the success of his earlier work. In later interviews, Fontana joked that he left the band because he didn't want to be a mindbender, though he remained proud of their shared achievements. He continued performing into the 2000s, but in 2020, Fontana sadly passed away at the age of 74. Eric Stewart, the Mindbenders guitarist, later found success as a member of 10cc, but he often reflected on the funny moments from his early days with the Mindbenders. Stewart once said that the best part of being in the band was their ability to laugh at themselves, whether they were playing to packed houses or just goofing around in the studio. Stewart remains active in the music industry today, known for his work both with the Mindbenders and beyond. Bob Lang, the band's original bassist, became somewhat of a cult figure in the music world. Known for his quiet but witty personality, Lang once claimed that he joined the band because it was the best way to avoid getting a real job. He eventually retired from the music scene, but his contributions to the Mindbenders' success have not been forgotten. Rick Rothwell, the Mindbenders' drummer, was known for his dynamic playing style and sense of humor. He was famous for twirling his drumsticks during live shows and often joked that he became a drummer because it was the only job where you could hit things and not get in trouble. Rothwell passed away in 2018, but his legacy as a fun and talented musician lives on. Though Wayne Fontana and the Mindbenders are no longer active, their humorous approach to music and memorable performances have left a lasting impact on their fans. Their story is one of laughter, music, and camaraderie, showing that sometimes the best way to make history is by having a little fun along the way.